ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ವಯಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಹಿರಿಯರು ವೃದ್ಧರು ಆಗಿದ್ರೂ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಯುವಕರು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ. What I mean, even though I am seeing many people who are not young in terms of age, but what I am seeing in everybody is that all of us have become young in terms of the mind, in terms of the passion, in terms of the spirit. That is what is called as youth. Many a time we try to say youth is 15 years to 35 years. People are not young. I remember an incident that has happened, which I always keep telling, sharing. There is one General K.M. Kariyappa, who was the first chief of army of our country. And after retirement, he used to stay at his house in Merkara called Roshanara. And normally people, whenever they used to go to Merkara, they used to visit him. They used to call on him. Once it so happened, a group of B.Ed students from Bangalore and other places, they went to meet him. And it is always a practice for General Kariyappa to get introduced, and when you get introduced, he will always ask for your age. That is his practice. So on that day, it began, and people started introducing, I am so and so, I am 21 years old. I am so and so, I am 22 years old. Like that, everybody started introducing their age in terms of oldness. Then finally the turn of General Kariyappa came, and he said, I am General Kariyappa, 72 years young. He said. I think this is a very, very important message. And we see youth is not necessarily in terms of age. Youth is not necessarily in terms of whether you have hair or not. Youth is not necessarily in terms of the jeans that we wear. And youth is not necessarily in terms of the fashion that we follow. Youth is always in terms of the spirit, the enthusiasm, the way to get things done, to challenge. In fact, somebody also said, who is youth? Somebody was asking somebody the definition of youth. And one person said, youth is one person who always takes on challenges. Then a person sitting next to him said, no, I have something to be added. Then that person said, no doubt youth always takes on challenges. But do you know the challenges? If there are no challenges, the youth will create challenge and take on that challenge. This is youth. So friends, Youth for Seva, YFS, Doctors for Seva, Executives for Seva, and various different things. I was just thinking, why not you add politicians for Seva? No, actually, I am not saying this out of any contempt. I am saying this as an element of opportunity can we provide? Politicians for Seva. In fact, I was sharing with Shridhar ji, why not we think like that? They immediately, the moment we talk about politicians, the negative things come into picture. May not necessarily. Government employees for Seva, for example. Why not we network like our doctor, Dr. Vimochana, who was deputy director in health department. Like that, I find any number of people, then we can change the perception about government employees. We can change the perception about politicians. We can change the perception about so many other things. I think this is a very, very important thing. I'm very happy to be here. And I'm also very happy to share the joy of giving. In fact, the joy of giving, there cannot be much more than that. And also leaving that imprint, the footsteps. That's what the two things that you visually try to project. I would like to take this opportunity to share a couple of ideas with all of you. One is primarily why all of us are involved in Seva. Why? What is the reason? What makes us to get into Seva, to do Seva? Many a time when we ask this question, people come out with macro analysis. The country is like this, the society is like this, there are poor people, there are the other kinds of problems are there. Not reaching, healthcare is not reaching the people. Yeah, fine, all that is true. But if you really look into a person who is involved in Seva, all these macro reasons are irrelevant, according to me. I will never get into Seva service because doctors are not doing service. No, I will always get into Seva because I want to make little difference. I want to make that little difference. And it is because of that satisfaction, because of that meaning, because of that consciousness I have, I get into Seva. It is not based on any analytics. It is not based on any logic. It is not based on any inspiration. It is not based on any motivation. It is based on my personal involvement, that joy that I will be getting. And it is because of that joy I get into Seva. So therefore, when we start looking at why Seva, it is for that joy. And that joy is always personal. It is always unique. It is always special to me. Somebody gets a joy if I give a chocolate to somebody. Another person gets a joy if I use my stethoscope and test somebody. The third person gets a joy if I can pull or push a wheelchair-driven disabled chap. The joy doesn't come from standardization. The joy comes from diversification and diversity. So that uniqueness of joy is the most important reason for us to get into Seva. Neither rewards, nor recognitions, nor anything else will attract people for Seva except for that joy. If anybody gives a big lecture that I am involved in service or Seva because of this World Bank analysis of the world economy kind of approach, then I think that the person is lying. Not 10%, 150% the person is lying. So the joy is that which attracts me towards Seva, and that is why Seva. The second point and the last point I would like to share with you is how Seva. Once I start getting joy, I start getting into Seva. Fine. But then how do you do that Seva? How do you pursue that Seva? See, for example, I am slightly going little negative in a different context. See, I have the ego of feeling that I am giving. I have the ego of a feeling that I am giving something to somebody. Or, because I am giving, I am something. It develops a kind of a complex, superiority complex. In fact, once I had an occasion to talk to a social worker who has given his entire life for a particular cause. Then, when I was talking to him, he said, "Sir, I have given my entire life for this cause." Okay, then what? Then he said, "See, people don't respect me, sir. People don't invite me to their houses. People don't receive me when I arrive in a station. People don't see me off. Sir, I have given my entire life for this cause." Then I told him, I don't know whether he liked it or not, "You please don't give your life anymore. Please go back." The reason is, the moment I start feeling that I am doing something for somebody, I am giving something for somebody, then the real spirit of Seva is gone. So, how Seva is a very, very important thing. That attitude, the kind of attitude, are we doing it as a duty or are we doing it as a favor? If I am doing it as a favor, then you are not at all doing Seva. If I am doing it as a natural duty, and for anything which is natural, you cannot even call it as duty. You are doing very natural. And that is real Seva. I would like to end saying that, if you are doing Seva, if we are doing Seva, many a time we try to do reactive Seva. Reactive Seva is something, when there is a problem, go and try to do something. When there is a flood, you try to go and do something. If there is a deprivation of health care, you try to go and fill it. Fine. There is nothing wrong in it. But what I am trying to look at, the next level of Seva, which is proactive Seva. Proactive Seva is something, if we can do that, then there is no need for anybody to do anything else additionally in society. What is that we can do? So I feel when Youth for Seva has completed 5 years of its work, I think it is also very, very important simultaneously to start thinking, can we also develop some missionaries for proactive Seva, not just for reactive Seva. Thank you very much. All the best.